Tom Bower isn't some random internet gossip. He's an 85-year-old royal biographer who has spent decades dismantling public facades, nothing to lose, and a reputation built on brutal honesty. So when he speaks about Meghan Markle, people don't just listen, they take notes. In his latest take, it's not just a jab at her character. It's an all-out assault on the very foundation of Meghan's carefully curated public image. At the heart of this explosion is a chapter Meghan has spent years trying to erase: the whispers about her so-called yacht girl past. Now let's get one thing clear. This isn't about shaming someone for how they came up or undermining a woman's ambition. It's about contradictions. Contradictions that have piled up so high they've become impossible to ignore. Meghan, for the longest time, positioned herself as a self-made Hollywood underdog who made it to royalty through hard work and grace. But Bower's story paints something very different. According to him, her rise was less about talent and more about calculated networking events with powerful men, exclusive yacht parties, and connections that conveniently pushed her up the ladder. Of course, Meghan has denied these rumors. She's called them sexist and defamatory. But the thing about rumors is this: when they refuse to die for over a decade, people start asking why. And Tom Bower thinks he knows why. They fit a pattern of image control, narrative reshaping, and an obsession with managing how she's perceived. The kind of pattern that doesn't hold up well when the spotlight hits too hard. But Bower doesn't stop at the yacht parties. He digs deeper, right into Meghan's almost obsessive relationship with Princess Diana. And this part gets uncomfortable. Meghan has tried to mirror Diana in every way: outfits, poses, even the emotional vulnerability that once made Diana beloved by millions. But instead of inspiring the same sympathy, Meghan's efforts come off as forced, contrived, even a little theatrical. According to Bower, it's because you can't fake authenticity. Diana didn't need to try. She was vulnerable, raw, tragically human. Meghan, in contrast, looks like someone performing vulnerability for the cameras, and the public is catching on. Remember the Oprah interview? It was supposed to be the moment that redefined Meghan's narrative. Instead, fact-checkers tore through it within days. She claimed she never Googled Harry before they met, yet there are photos of her wearing his mother's jewelry long before their first date. She spoke about royal protocol as if it was all new to her, except she had royal-adjacent friends years before she even met Harry. It's not just one or two lies, it's the accumulation. Bower's words hit hard here. When you tell enough lies, they begin to flood everything. And once they do, no one believes anything anymore. And that brings us to the marriage. What looks like a dreamy fairy tale from the outside, Netflix documentaries, red carpet photos, posed family moments, is, according to Bower, little more than a business partnership hanging by a thread. He claims Meghan uses her daughter as a shield to deflect criticism and spin sympathy. That behind closed doors, things aren't nearly as rosy as the PR suggests. And the signs are everywhere. A growing emotional gap between Harry and Meghan. Conflicting stories about their timeline. Calculated photo ops that now look more like desperate attempts to stay relevant than genuine love. But here's the twist. For a while, Hollywood played along. Meghan was royalty. Literally. And that carried weight. She got invited to elite events. She rubbed shoulders with A-listers. She thought she had them in her corner forever. But something changed. The calls stopped coming. Producers started whispering. Big-name celebrities began keeping their distance. The shine faded, and Tom Bower says, that's no accident. Hollywood is a strange beast. One moment, you're everyone's favorite underdog. The next, you're the punchline of every industry dinner. Meghan Markle thought her royal title would guarantee her a permanent seat at the table, but as Tom Bower points out, that seat is looking shakier by the day. The sparkle of being a duchess has dulled. Big producers once excited to feature her now avoid her, not because she's untalented, but because she's become unpredictable. And in Hollywood, unpredictability is bad for business. It's not just producers, it's actors, directors, influencers. Meghan has turned into a brand liability. Nobody wants to be caught in the middle of whatever story she's spinning this month. The whispers behind the scenes have shifted. She's hard to work with. She makes everything about her. She brings drama to sets and tension to rooms. And the thing about Hollywood is they'll smile to your face while quietly erasing your name from the next invite list. Bauer argues this quiet exile isn't personal, it's strategic. No one wants to deal with the mess. And speaking of mess, the narrative Meghan's built around herself has become impossible to manage. From podcast interviews to Netflix specials, she's tried to be everything. The victim, the rebel, the brave outsider, the feminist hero, the misunderstood royal, the protective mother. But the more identities she stacks on, the more it all starts to look like a performance. Audiences, especially ones tired of being emotionally manipulated, can smell it a mile away. One of Bauer's most savage critiques is that Meghan's life now feels produced. Nothing is organic. Every photo is posed, every statement is focus grouped, every leak to the press is intentional. It's not that she's calculated, it's that the calculation is so obvious now. Her Netflix scenes with Harry, staged. Her paparazzi moments in California, tipped off. Even her attempts to appear normal feel like mini productions with lighting and makeup. And this level of control, Bauer says, is what's actually destroying her. Because when you try too hard to look authentic, you end up looking fake. There's also this chilling allegation about how Meghan uses her children. According to Bauer's sources, she weaponizes motherhood, strategically placing her kids in headlines to shield herself from criticism. If things get too heated, suddenly there's a photo of her baking with Lily or Harry talking about bedtime stories with Archie. It's a subtle PR trick, but Bauer calls it out for what it is, deflection. He says it's not about family, it's about framing, and it leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. Then there's the Diana obsession. And obsession isn't hyperbole here. From wardrobe choices to camera angles, Meghan has studied Diana like a character role she's preparing to play. But where Diana's sorrow felt heartbreaking, Meghan's sadness feels curated. Where Diana broke hearts, Meghan breaks the illusion. Instead of drawing sympathy, these parallels make people roll their eyes. As Bauer puts it, you can't be Diana. Diana was spontaneous, raw, beloved. Meghan, he says, is none of those things. The most brutal part? People have stopped giving her the benefit of the doubt. It's not just that they question her stories, they assume they're lies. Every new claim is met with skepticism. Every contradiction adds to the pile. And once someone becomes known for lying, even their truth starts sounding fake. That's the damage Tom Bauer says Meghan has done to herself, not by being flawed, but by trying to fake perfection for too long in front of too many cameras. Meghan Markle didn't just lose control of her narrative, she lost control of the one thing that gave her power: public sympathy. There was a time when people rooted for her. She was the outsider who married into one of the world's most traditional families. She was American, biracial, self-made, everything the monarchy wasn't. That contrast was compelling. It made her stand out. But over time, that sympathy eroded. Not because of who she was, but because of what she kept trying to be. Tom Bauer doesn't mince words. He calls it the collapse of a brand. And when you think about Meghan as a brand rather than a person, the picture becomes clearer. Every interview, every partnership, every public appearance has been engineered to push an image. Powerful yet relatable, glamorous yet grounded, royal yet rebellious. But when too many of those images contradict each other, people start asking uncomfortable questions. And when those contradictions stack up, the brand loses credibility. One of the final blows came when Spotify pulled the plug on Meghan's podcast deal. A multi-million-dollar partnership evaporated with barely a goodbye. The platform, once excited to feature her voice, walked away with almost nothing to show for it. Insiders said the content lacked substance, that it was all fluff and no depth. Others claimed she barely did any of the work herself. And this wasn't just a bad business deal. It was a red flag for the industry. If Spotify couldn't make it work with a royal, why would anyone else risk it? Then came Netflix. Once a crown jewel in the Sussex media empire, that relationship is now reportedly cooling too. Viewership didn't match the hype. The projects that followed didn't resonate, and behind the scenes, executives started seeing the same red flags. Too much control, not enough collaboration. Too much image crafting, not enough substance. Bauer paints a picture of a woman who believed the title Duchess would open every door, only to discover that titles don't mean much when trust is gone. Even the royal family, known for their tight-lipped diplomacy, have distanced themselves completely. Charles doesn't mention her. William won't speak about her. Kate won't even acknowledge her presence in interviews. Meghan has become the name everyone avoids, the subject no one brings up. It's not drama anymore, it's damage control for the royals. It's easier to pretend she doesn't exist than deal with the chaos she brings. Social media hasn't been kind either. Clips of Meghan's interviews get chopped up and ridiculed. Her speeches are analyzed for inconsistencies. Old footage resurfaces and goes viral with sarcastic captions. The audience she once inspired now watches with skepticism. Even fans who once defended her have gone silent or turned critical. Meghan isn't the hero or the villain. She's the question mark. People don't know what to believe anymore. And in PR, confusion is just as bad as bad press. Tom Bower's most cutting line is also the simplest. Her lies could flood the earth. It sounds dramatic, but the point is clear. When someone tells too many stories, the audience eventually stops listening altogether. Meghan has reached that point. The contradictions, the staged moments, the failed projects, they've all built up to one conclusion. The brand is collapsing. Once, she thought she could control the narrative forever, that with the right angle, the right lighting, the right headlines, she could shape how the world saw her. But the world is tired of angles. They're tired of PR. They want something real. And Meghan, for all her efforts, just doesn't feel real anymore. The fairy tale is over. What's left is the fallout. And in Bower's view, that fallout isn't temporary. It's the beginning of the end. Not of Meghan the person, but of Meghan the idea, the carefully built, endlessly managed brand.